Currently 4:34 p.m. as you can see on the screen. 4:34 p.m. I want you to look at the time. And this is the same exact time where I am in Ontario, California, where I remain on May 15, 2022. And you saw the light source that Maria Solis Alvarez and Carlo Lopez and the people of the state that are residing at the crime scene, that is a facilitating venue, and the placement of what are helicopters all over the property while I'm documenting the maintenance of a light source, which on its face is the facilitating venue. I'm giving you a vivid illustration for purposes of looking at the light object itself, which remained, as I have thoroughly documented throughout the substance of the P.O.C. That's why part of the reason why I document it, because it's not just the fact that the entity is stalking by corrupt law enforcement agencies, fire departments, and ambulance personnel, which represents the state of California. The fact that the entity is stalking in these manners in a very specific environment. And at 4:34 p.m., the light source is remaining in its zenith over me. This is the light source itself. I'm at what is the intersection of Holt Boulevard and Plum. And this is where the Route 61 bus stop is. I've referred to this as the Shiro's Liquor. I'm at the Shiro's Liquor very early in Ontario. It's around the corner from the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, where I would wake up in the morning, and this light source was directly over that museum. I am there in the afternoon, 4:34 p.m. And again, I'm nowhere in Ontario. I'm waking up in Los Angeles as of late. This is the same time of year analysis. The entity is maintaining a light source, as you saw this morning through my living room window, which would never be anywhere near Shiro's Liquor or the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. Neither is it the natural environment for that light source to be over the Ontario Museum of History and Arts and at the property of the Shiro's Liquor, which is around the block at the same location. It's less than 500 feet. The entity is maintaining a specific environment, as I documented in Ontario. And this is what I was capturing. This is the Shiro's Liquor at 410 Holt Boulevard, okay? This is called crossing a path presence in that specific environment where the sun is not possibly going to be at that same location as I arrive there at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning, routinely. I am at this same address at 4, you can see by the timestamp, 4:34 and 15 seconds. All I do is turn around at 18 seconds and show you the light source so you can see the group stalking. This is going to be juxtaposed with the light source that remains here in Ontario. This is where you're seeing group stalking in the workplace. This is where LAPD is stalking in helicopters routinely in concert with the employees of a third-party company. That is the malicious guise where group stalking is underway. As you are witnessing the light source that remains directly over me, it remained here all day long. That's the whole point of capturing the impossible and revealing the demon possession of the entity that is amplifying plane activity as I step into the light source while they are second by second monitoring documentation. This is a black airplane. This is group stalking in the airspace in real time. This is the entity that is hovering in real time while the light source is not over Shiro's Liquor at the same time. It's over me in Los Angeles, where it was present, by the way, at 10:42 when the entity was stalking by helicopter, where it was present over my apartment, and I showed you as I walked downstairs after 12 p.m. And this is where the entity is maintaining on an ongoing basis planes and helicopters in the specific environment, which is the pattern of conduct of group stalking. The entity is engaging in this, which is a pattern because it wants to be a distraction. That's not a distraction. That's the pattern of group stalking. The entity, the state itself, is group stalking using planes and helicopters, and they're doing it in concert with the people of the state that are maintaining presence on the property of what are speaker companies' real property, again, which is state surveillance. That's 24-hour surveillance in that specific environment where the sun rises and sunsets. This is called crossing a path, and that black airplane, the amplified audible activity, is criminal facilitation while that demon-possessed person, and you know it because of the light source, that was here at 10:42 directly over my head while LAPD were engaging in exhibiting demon possession, flying in a circle at a distance where I would never be able to hear it inside of my office, yet I heard it. That's how I stepped out, and you saw the demon that is Maria Solis Alvarez group stalking with the LAPD with her back to me, which is the cowardice of the demon-possessed population that is nonetheless still obsessed and equally engaged in that criminal conduct just while keeping their back to you, which they don't have to look at you or talk to you. You don't even have to know them. But I know this demon by name and position, and that's why she's going to federal prison. This is management engaging in what is group stalking under the guise of speaker companies, and that was crossing a path. That's exactly what the LAPD is doing. The entity is crossing path in sky space, and this is a light source that's remaining not over Shiro's Liquor in Ontario, California at the same time. The entity is engaging what is lying in wait conduct as you hear that amplified plane activity. That's what the demon possessed are doing on an ongoing basis, by the way. Lying in wait on streets, lying in wait inside of the hallways, lying in wait on the side of buildings, lying in wait while they come onto the property to engage in what is picking up a third-party group stalker such as Kum Lee, who's pacing back and forth, coming onto the grounds to engage in criminal conduct such as Center for Better Life, while they're engaging in what is maintenance in a specific environment, coming up and picking up a third-party group stalker like you saw today, Miss Sayel Lopez and Julia Alvarez Lopez, group stalkers who you see acting in concert with that same corrupt entity, flying directly over my head after 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and the light source is right here over me as I'm stepping down from my apartment, where I'm capturing the sunrise at 7 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. After 1 in the afternoon, the light source is still here, and that demon Julia Alvarez Lopez already captured documentation acting in concert with the demon possessed state that uses planes and helicopters like you just saw in an unnatural environment that is not shared with the parking lot of Shiro's Liquor, where the light source is captured over me at 7, 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock in the morning, making no provision for there ever to be a sunrise here at the same hillside. That's the pattern of what is group stalking. Okay, group stalking on the grounds, that's Kum Lee crossing path. Group stalking in the airspace, that's crossing a path, and that was a demon lying in wait, waiting for the moment for me to step into that engineered light. That simultaneity, pay attention, run the video back, and you will hear that creation of that audible activity. And this is what the LAPD is doing on an ongoing basis, and they were doing it in concert with management. Maria Solis Alvarez is working for a company that shall be non-existent, but she is exhibiting exactly what Teresa Becerra, acting in the position of an officer of the court, while she's engaged in criminal conduct, which is inherently conflicting her. And she is also engaged in what is that which is to my detriment, while she's asking for questions, first of all, which is harassment, questions that she knows the answer to as the entity engaging in that criminal pattern of conduct, which is occurring under the guise of that audible activity created while the LAPD flew directly over my office. Covering up the light source, which you see on that day, is no deviation from that same exact criminal system. Teresa Becerra comprises the entity that's engaging in the elements of monitoring with Maria Solis Alvarez, who you saw heavily engaged in terrorism in the workplace. 1042, the light source, 1042, the light source is over my head right here. LAPD is group stalking. What I'm capturing at 3:58, the light source is directly over my head right here. Maria Solis is group stalking. Entering into my office, Carla Lopez, coming into my office at the same time that LAPD is group stalking in the path, and the light source is still here. There was a sunrise this morning at this property at 7:12 through my living room window, and I'm still at the same property. I work and live at the same address, and that's where you're understanding what is group stalking. And also, while that is on its face speaking to the specific environment, it is under no circumstances the light source that's going to be at Shiro's Liquor at 410 East Holt Boulevard in Ontario, California. And that's where I'm located, where this light source is remaining in the same position that you see it directly over me, which is impossible. Okay, that's an impossibility. This is not over the Shiro's Liquor in Ontario, California. And that is showing you what is the pattern of conduct. It is also showing you the pattern of conduct while you see a person that's walking by and then she's walking by again. That's the demonic endeavor. That's the objective, to maintain this engineered environment, which is not sunlight. The entity is also maintaining this light source as it remains, as you saw 7:12 in the morning. The entity is engaging what is then moving this light source that moves from being over my apartment to then engaging in what is stalking with light. This is what's inside of my second bedroom, inside of my apartment, as though the sun is going to be present at what is 5:33 p.m. after rising in alignment to my apartment at 7:12 in the morning. That is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 10 hours. This is what I captured yesterday evening, suggesting that that's the natural environment, or that that's sunlight, and neither are the case. And it's also speaking to what is impossible while I'm showing you the light source that's an entirely different region, and I remain in this region, never coming to Los Angeles at this time of year, same time of year and same exact time. And this is what I'm documenting on an ongoing basis. The entity was maintaining a light source, by the way, as I remained in an entirely different region for the duration of the day. And this is capturing what is group stalking. The only problem with the file is because the entity is monitoring on my phone. This is federal stalking that I'm documenting in real time. The entity is engaging what is an ongoing pattern of conduct, and doing so with real-time knowledge of the fact that their criminal system is being captured as a matter of evidence for the federal prosecution of an entire community, okay, including the one that is acting in concert. So again, like I said, there's no issue with my phone. This is criminal monitoring. On May 15, 2022, this is the address where I wake up in the morning, and the entity is engaging in group stalking while you're seeing engineered light on my carpet inside of my apartment, as though the sun is ever going to be present for an excess of 10 hours at the same address. The entity is group stalking, as you see, with minor children that are walking in engineered light. Engineered light is covering the grounds because the sun is not going to be present rising over me, which is what I have documented, and also engaging in what is group stalking. And who was group stalking? The entity is group stalking by helicopter. That's what the LAPD is doing here. And this is what the Ontario Police Department was doing on this date. So let me show you that documentation. The entity is engaging what is criminal conduct in real time, and that's why Dominic Choi is fired. Okay, this is a demon-possessed entity. This is a demon-possessed chief of police. That's why the entire police department are practicing demonic conduct, and they're engaged in what is entirely detrimental to an entire state, and that is the state of California that is subject to federal prosecution based on the criminal conduct that I continue to document. So I want you to look at evidence of what I have captured on at the same time of year as well, while the entity is monitoring on my phone. And oh no, I'm sorry, this is a different video. Let me show you what I have at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts while the entity is indeed group stalking. Download videos. Let's see, 70. At the same time, when the entity is aiming the light source inside of my apartment here in Los Angeles. And this is what I captured on May 15th, 2022 at 4:45 p.m. The entity is flying directly over my head by helicopter.
The entity gets entirely frustrated as I document that damning evidence. I want to be clear, this is the criminal system that this demon, Moss, was engaging in today at 10:19 in the morning.
Moss is the name of a demon-possessed officer affiliated with the Ontario Police Department, and he's going to federal prison.
While he's engaging in, what is that, that nonchalant attitude while he's terrorizing somebody else. That's directly relevant while he's engaging in this terrorizing conduct. Wearing a police uniform. Engaging in this.
That is the Ontario Police that engaged in multiple acts of kidnapping while they are indeed group stalking in a specific environment where, by the way, the light source is remaining over me around the block from the Shy Rose Liquor. I'm on the same block, and I'm present at this Ontario Museum at 7. Well, I'm there at 5 in the morning, but I wake up at 7 in the morning. This is 5:45 in the afternoon.
The entity's light source is at the same exact.
This is the same exact Ontario Museum at 225 South Euclid Avenue, where I wake up in the morning, and the light source is directly over my head. I am there at that same Ontario Museum of History and Arts. By the way, that is nowhere near Los Angeles Alvarado Gardens, where the entity is maintaining the light source through my bedroom window. And that's again, you're going to look at the light activity that the entity is aiming into my apartment in the evening, as though the sun is going to remain present at one address, and that's what I'm showing in Ontario. This is 5:32 p.m. The entity is group stalking at the same time of year, literally at 5:45, and I'm showing you the entity is also group stalking in helicopter. And so this is speaking to the unnatural environment, the simultaneity of conduct, which is the outward demonstration of demon possession by a state actor that's flying over this property in a black plane, hovering over the property, doing so at the moment that I step out to show you video of what is the light source that is still remaining present at the same property where I captured the sunrise, which is visible through my living room window on this hillside, and all I do is turn around to be at the same property, which is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. It is 4:46 p.m. That is over 8 hours later, and it's at the same property. And then the entity, as I'm showing you, remaining present at the same property, and then engaging in what is a sunset through my bedroom windows, aiming engineer light onto my bedspreads, onto my ceiling, across the floor. And the entity is maintaining this light source. This is not going to be over the Ontario Museum of History and Arts at 5:32 p.m. This is the same time of year analysis, duration of time analysis, where I'm showing you at or around the same time on May 15, 2022, the light source is at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, while the entity is stalking me by helicopter.
And this is what you're listening to on my podcast, flying repeatedly in circles, especially as I capture the fake sun in the same position that I'm capturing in the morning. The entity gets entirely frustrated as I document that damning evidence. I want to be clear, this is the criminal system that this demon...
And I just want you to, again, I want you to see the light source as I get up. And this is the outward demonstration of demon possession in the same way that you just saw it exhibited by a state actor hovering in a black airplane, waiting until the moment that I step out into the engineer light, showing you the light source that's been present for over 8 hours at one address. And this is not shared with the property of the Ontario Museum of History and Arts at 225 South Euclid Avenue. 225 South Euclid Avenue is, again, around the block. It's essentially the same location of the Shy Rose Liquor, where I am showing you video at 4:34 p.m., the same time where the entity is maintaining a light source, okay? And again, this is captured same time of year analysis and also down to the same time. The entity is maintaining a light source here in Los Angeles through my bedroom window at 5:45 p.m. This is what is group stalking. The people at state utilizing their children, engaging what is group stalking with that state, maintaining presence on an ongoing basis, and you're actually looking at the evidence of obsession, The entity is maintaining obsessive presence all around you while that unnatural and engineered environment and group stalking in planes and helicopters remain underway. It is state surveillance in the state of California. It is unconstitutional. It's inhumane. It's terrorism, America's version of terrorism, while the state of California practices demonic activity. And this is occurring, the hallmark, as you see LAPD engaging in, group stalking very heavily in concert with management for a third-party company that I am currently employed for, threatening my life on a systematic basis, while the entity is engaging with flying over my apartment all day and all night as I document, and flying over and around my office, targeting through the amplification of that helicopter activity, which is, again, the outward demonstration of demon possession, because I cannot hear the helicopter when it is at that great distance that you saw at 10:42 in the morning. 10:42 in the morning, where, by the way, the light source was directly over my head as I stood right here. And it is, again, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 hours later, and the light source is right here over the apartment building. And then the entity moved the light source to be in alignment to my bedroom window. And let's be clear, the light source, this is my apartment, 1806, where the sunrise is setting. After 5 p.m., I go back into my apartment at 1806, which is on the same property. This is where I'm at right now. This is 7:12 a.m., the sunrise. This is 10:42 a.m. The entity group stalking by helicopter, group stalking while the light source is over my head, group stalking with management of speaker companies, threatening my life together in concert with Carla Lopez, as I documented today again. None of this is making any provision for the light source to be at Shiro's Liquor today at 4:34 p.m. It's not, while you're looking at it hovering over me, while the entity's group stalking in planes and helicopters all day in concert with Maria Solis Alvarez representing speaker companies. And the entity is engaging what is keeping a light source visible through my bedroom window, the same property, as though it is ever going to be seen through the window of the same property where the sunrise is also captured, as though this is going to be seen also on the property of the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, where the entity is both stalking in a helicopter and maintaining a light source that is not possibly the sun.
Images, so let me show you in video. They are group stalking. The helicopter, the fake sun.
Alrighty, that's called federal group stalking and monitoring. That's the entity's pattern of conduct. And that's what's occurring as I go to my apartment and I routinely capture the impossible light activity, which is speaking to state surveillance that's underway while I go to what is referred to as the private space where I live, and the entity is engaging in what is then a demonic imitation of the natural environment, as though the sun is going to be present and any position to be present, to be seen setting, and I put that in air quotes. This is not where the entity is going to have a sunset or the sunrise. This is where the entity will have a sunrise and a sunset, but that's not the natural environment. And in the unnatural environment, where you're looking at engineered light that's appearing through my closed blinds on the floor, all right, at a distance away from the closed window, that's the light source. That's not over the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, but it is within the pattern of conduct where there is both a sunrise and a sunset at one property in conformity to a pattern of federal group stalking and monitoring in concert with the people of the state. And this is the sunrise that I captured this morning at 7:12 in the morning, which is literally capturing the phenomenon of what is the evidence of demon possession and the group stalking that's underway by the demon possessed. That's engineered light. That's also occurring at the sunset, while the sunset is occurring through my bedroom window, and I live at the same property. Okay, this is the light source outside of my living room window. All right, 5:30 p.m. I want you to look at that again. 5:30 p.m. The entity is engaging what is maintaining a light source outside of my bedroom window. This is 5:32 p.m. 7:12 a.m. and 5:32 p.m. is capturing the P.O.C. and it remains there. It's an unnatural environment. Sunlight is not engaging in what is spreading across your carpet, reaching into the depths of your apartment, spreading across my bed, reaching onto the carpet, reaching underneath the bed. As I documented, this is all engineered light that covers the population that's going to be federally prosecuted for engaging in state surveillance with the entity that uses planes and helicopters to engage in what is group stalking together with it while they live in relevant position, engage in this sort of surrounding conduct everywhere that I walk. Someone is maintaining presence in the path, and you're looking at the engineered light that's covering the property of Silverview Townhomes. This is group stalking. That's not sunlight. While the light source, not the sun, is over Shiro's Liquor, is over the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. There's no sunlight that's going to be over Silverview Townhomes. There's no sunlight that's going to be over Silverview Townhomes where the documented sunrise is at this same hillside. The sun is not going to be present over 8 hours later. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. 10 hours later. That's not sunlight. That's the same engineered light that you see spreading across my carpet, that you see on the side of vehicles, while those that are calling themselves your manager are group stalking you. This is the prosecution of both speaker companies and the management personnel, the co-workers that are engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring in concert with the state that is heavily documented engaged in group stalking, and she's going to federal prison. She's standing in Engineer Light. She's engaged in what is criminal facilitation while the entity is group stalking while I remain at the property. Okay, that's the pattern of conduct. It is currently, again, 4:53 while you're looking at the light source that remains here, and it is not anywhere near a Shiro's Liquor, nor will it ever be. This is P.O.C.